Hello everybody. We have a game with the black pieces against Gundam, rated 1155. And we pre-moved d6 so we could play against whatever he throws at us. He throws e4, so we're going to try to get a Pirc. He now goes c3, preparing d4, which doesn't need to be prepared, so that's a little weird. We're going to develop our knight and attack his pawn, and now he can't put his knight here and develop and defend. So it's a little awkward for white. Maybe queen c2. Oh, he just ignores me as if I don't exist, and he pushes in the center. This does hang a central pawn. Is there any way to punish us from taking it? Well, considering all his pieces are at home, there shouldn't be a way for him to punish us. So we have the time to grab it and go back. So bishop c4, eyeing the f7 square. Maybe the queen's going to come, try to attack it. But we could play d5 if we want. There's also no need to play d5. If we play d5, he'll probably go back to d3, attacking our knight. And then if we retreat, he'll develop his knight. If we instead defend it, he'll still develop his knight. I kind of want to leave the pawn on d6. I like it there. So instead, I'm going to move my other knight towards the center. And maybe I can back this guy up. So he does bring the queen out, which means he cannot play f3. There's a double attack on my knight and a checkmate in one. Now, if I just cover, I'm covering the queen's checkmate. I'm also defending the hanging knight. And now his knight can't go here. Okay, so he develops his knight and attacks mine. Now, the reason this knight is on e4 in the first place is because I took a free pawn, not because I wanted it there, because it's not very stable there. So now he's offering a peace trade, an easy way out for me. You don't have to necessarily trade. You could choose to, again, play d5 or move the knight or whatever. But since we have our win condition, which is the extra central pawn, let's trade a pair of pieces. Okay, so he captures back. He's ready to cast along, maybe. We could try to continue developing our minor pieces. So our dark square bishop, unclear what I want to do with it. So let's what do we want to do with it? I guess I will throw in d5. Just he can't put the knight here, right, in one turn. So giving him the e5 square, it's not going to be as big of a deal since he can't put a knight there. It also stops his bishop, stops his queen. And now my dark square bishop has a place to go, so it makes sense. I wanted to move my light square bishop, but that would have hung the b pawn. Okay, so now he goes here, which is weird because it's at a diagonal where I can easily shut down his bishop. Now if I hit the queen, develop for free, where is he going to go? Probably here, maybe? But I can just do this whole reroute thing and try to get the bishop to g6. What else do I have? I have a normal move like e6 or g6. But I'm going to go for this, just develop for free, see what he does. And maybe he'll move the queen to a bad square. It is developed pretty early. So now we have a symmetrical pawn structure on the queen side. I mean, it's not symmetrical, it's just we both have 4 pawns. We have a 4-on-4 on the queen side, but I have this extra e pawn on the king side, or the center. And so if I trade everything off down into a king and pawn endgame, I should be able to run this pawn up the board with the support of the f and the d pawn and get a pass pawn. Right? Because the only thing that can stop us is an f pawn, but he only has one and we'll have two supporters. So he moves the queen forward, walking into a potential bishop d6 in the future. We could also go queen d6 now since we're up material, but why ruin our structure? Let's instead solidify our pawn chain, prepare bishop d6, and his queen is looking worse and worse. So he attacks our bishop, but I think we want to intermezzo this, hit his queen. But what if his queen goes here and hits our pawn? Our bishop's hanging, our pawn's hanging. Maybe that's a little too fancy, so maybe we should just stick with our original plan of putting our bishop on g6, and we can kick the queen now. Because now if we kick the queen and it goes here, we have bishop g6, protecting the pawn. So he attacks the pawn. So again, what I wanted to do when he played h3 was ignore it and go bishop d6, but I couldn't. But now he's attacking the bishop, I can ignore it. Bishop d6, because on this I have bishop back. So now I get to ignore it. Before I would have needed 2 moves to get the bishop to g6. Now I just need 1 move. That's the difference. And if he does go here, okay, so he goes away, x-raying my king, but this is defended. Unless he chooses to kick this next. My bishop's currently hit as well. So if I move my bishop back and he attacks my knight, then this pawn would be hanging unless I move my knight forward, blocking the queen. And that should work, so. Yeah, what he's doing shouldn't work because he's very poorly developed. And all he's doing is pushing pawns. And I already have 3 minor pieces out. I didn't do anything, too dumb, so this shouldn't work. It's nice that an 1100's finding these ideas. It's good. But let's move this knight out of the way. Block the queen. And then if we castle, he'll really just have no ideas at all. And the game will be over. So he attacks the knight again so that when I move it, he can take the pawn. But I can move the knight with tempo. I can take the bishop, forcing a reaction. I can hit the rook. I can take the pawn, which is hanging. Oh, it's not hanging, actually. Ignore that. And I can go bishop g3, check, before I do any of that, which gives another coordination square for the knight. So let's start with bishop g3 check, taking advantage of the most recently created weakness, the drawback of his last move. So he moves the king forward. Okay, I guess it's an idea. His queen's almost trapped. Bishop f2. I mean, what is happening? This loses the queen to a discovery, and if he goes here, do I really have nothing? I mean, I can definitely go check and pick up. I don't care about his rook. I'm not trying to get his rook. I want to get his queen. Oh well. Although, it is enticing. What else do I have? So this square he always escapes to. I can't cover it the way I want. There is just castling, and then you lose your knight. So there's not just castling. Let's just get rid of it. get it out of the way of our bishop, make his queen go away from our king. We're up a pawn, his king can't move, our bishop is in his position. We have the perfect solid structure, beautiful bishop, and we can castle. So we also, now if you just castle, you give him the option of playing something like h4, h5, but if we put the bishop here, not only can he not push the pawn, but we're creating threats. So I'm going to prioritize that, since he literally has nothing to do with his pieces that matter in any way, shape, or form. Maybe his best move is start with the bishop trade, just to get rid of my active piece and his garbage piece. Otherwise, you have to try to develop, but how do you do that? So he moves his queen here, but it doesn't coordinate because it's just one piece. So this was hanging, so I can't take with the. I mean, I can take with the queen. He takes a pawn. I can do something like check, but just to keep it simple, you could just take with the bishop, and he can't do anything. So because I don't want to calculate, let's do this. Now I'm up 2 pawns, and these bishops are killer. He's coming closer and closer. None of this makes any sense. He's attacking this pawn. Okay. Let's kick the queen out of our position and have the most solid thing ever right here. Okay, he goes back. Now we lift the queen up, going for the queen trade and activating a piece significantly. Our strongest piece. If he doesn't want the queen trade, this has really good squares to look at. And we can castle in either direction. I'm leaning towards queen side. Okay, so he moves the queen yet again. And I want to break in the center, and I want to castle. Let's just castle queen side. And look at our position. I mean, visually, it looks amazing. It looks perfect. Super harmonious. Everything's defended. Nothing's blocking other stuff. So he moves the rook over. And maybe he's going to castle by hand, or I'm not really sure. We have this weird check, but if he just moves his king, check. I guess that's really good for us. What else do we have? We have pushing in the center and breaking if he runs with his king. We can take the pawn. If he takes back, I mean, it's still good for us, but I feel like queen a6 might be better. You could also just bring your rook in. Okay, let's go for the check and see if he goes c4 or not. Or if he moves his king. Yeah, I don't see any good moves for white. I don't know what he tries. So, okay, so now that we have just a minute, he's going to have to trade queens or he's going to get checkmated, so. Okay, I might have something better, but I don't feel like calculating. Or not I don't feel like it, I would if I had time, but I don't have time. So, let's just make some quick moves. These bishops are still kind of deadly. Deadly-ish. Oh no, I have no time. I wish there was some increment. He didn't take? That's weird. Free pawn. Still didn't take. Weird. I took way too long to make my moves for the speed run, so I got way too long time for no reason. So now I'm just moving faster. What? Couldn't he move it back? Right? Couldn't he move it back? Where did that knight go? Rook back? Ouch. Does this win the knight? Whatever. Probably you could have won the knight with bishop e3, but whatever. I have 20 seconds. I'm just making semi-random moves. He's going to take the bishop with the knight. Okay, he's not. So now we get the check. He should have. Okay. Now we can maybe mate him if he's not paying attention. Which he's not. Which he's not. There it is. Oh. That was close. So you can see at the end right there, I pushed b5 and you're like, you probably said, is that just random? But it was to create the mating net to cover these escape squares so that I can go here and here. And it worked if your opponent doesn't pay attention, so that's pretty funny. That was good because we we didn't have much time left. Not sure what would have happened if he didn't just blunder the game. So let's go through. Not exactly the most traditional way to start a Pirc defense, but it's good enough. We take a free pawn. Now we develop and center. We develop and let's say forced. And it says black is minus 1.2, so we're a little more than a pawn better, which makes sense. Okay, so we're just removing our liability. Just a trade. And then center and development. Out of curiosity, what is the best move? G6, C6, yeah, all normal stuff. Okay, so we did play in the center. And then we develop for free. And now he moved closer, which gives us more tempo moves in the future, so I don't think it's good for him. Center and development. Force move. Development for free. It says we're -2. So, force move. And now it says -3. Just keeps getting worse. So force move. -4. Improving a piece for free. And now, I mentioned you could take the rook, you could win material. I chose not to, so the computer says mistake, which is fine, it makes sense. You're completely winning, and I knew what I was doing, so. Okay, so this is just a prophylactic move. Hopefully you can see why I'm not just castling here or putting a rook here and trying to play c5. Because white wants to go here and here, if he can. Because those would be decent ideas for him. So I'm just putting a halt to that, and it's for free because the pawn hangs. So it's not even a waste of time. So you might as well. Free stuff. Free stuff, I mean force move. And now I go for the queen trade. Computer says mistake because my position's so overwhelming. You can keep the queens on and attack his super weak king. But as a human, there's no reason to do that because the game is already over. So just get the pieces off the board because you won. So we king safety, development, our position is amazing. Check, improving move for free. Check with the idea of just getting the queens off the board. And at this point I had 45 seconds. So I mean, the moves here, it's not like I was, oh, what's the best move? I was just kind of moving, so I'm not too critical on myself and stuff like this. Um, so I just make an attacking move, trying to tie down the knight so it can't move, because this is very annoying for white to deal with. Because you want to develop your knight, which hasn't moved in 25 moves so far. And now we make this move, which you probably, I want to say you shouldn't make it, but I guess you have no choice because you have two bishops lined up. So you have to play f6 or f5. So you do have to give up this pawn. Okay. Yeah, you're completely winning, but it does give him these central pawns, but your activity is too great. But with 30 seconds on your clock, you don't want to give back material for your dynamic position because you're not going to have time to figure out the dynamic position, like to play it accurately. Um, so for example, where we gave him back a pawn, right? So we're only up one pawn, but it's -3, so completely crushing. So you have to try to see how that makes sense because of how bad all of this junk is. So that's what I was going for. Even with 30 seconds on my clock, I judged that these two pawns, given them, will be fine for me. Now I just go for easy trade. And then I was super surprised he didn't take this pawn. And I could play c6 here, but I didn't even. I said, okay, I'll give you one more turn uh, to take it. But you could definitely just play c6 and not play games like that. But he still didn't take it. It's -5, which is absurd, considering I'm up one pawn. And a lot of you would be scared and you would be thinking, oh man, I'm losing my advantage. I just lost one pawn. Here goes the second one. Oh, it's an even game now, right? A lot of you would probably think that, but it's not even close to even when you're -5. Um, so we just kind of moved the bishop randomly because it was under attack, so force move. And then we just make a random attacking move for free to get the bishop into this square where I kind of figured he would go to protect the pawn since it's hanging. And my intention was just to attack it with pawns. So that's what we did. He kind of walks into it. We kick the bishop. Computer says all these mistakes it's saying from now on are just from one better completely winning line to a lesser completely winning line. So don't pay it any mind. And then he sacks the bishop, but he could have just come back. He had this square. He had this square. Um, and yeah, I attacked the knight in the game, and they're recommending it now. But for some reason, he just gave it up, and now that just made our game super easy. And then I attacked the knight anyway. And here I'm pretty sure you could just win the knight, but I decided to go for this one, figuring he would take the bishop and you get the rook. But then he just hung the knight entirely, so that was a pretty solid game. Um, if you do analyze your games with the engine, try to distinguish between actual like problems in your thinking process when the computer says mistake, or what exactly was it, a tactic you missed. If you go from -10 to -7, don't be critical of stuff like that. So anyway, good luck in your chess, and I'll see you in the next game.